See, I wasn't going to talk yesterday because sometimes I can be real intense, and I don't want that to happen. But I feel a lot better today, so I feel like I can talk. As some of you know, I always wanted kids, right? And then I moved in the room with Jason and James. And I finally got the feeling like I had two sons, and my baby son. Wait a minute. Yeah, even though he is older, this is my oldest son right here, man. This is my oldest son, okay? The oldest son, you would have thought he was the messiest, but he wasn't. He was the baby boy. But so intelligent, you know, so wise. He cooked steak every night and left my floor greasy. But I think what most of y'all don't know is that a lot of times I didn't see this smile, you know? And that's what I loved about James, because I'm a man and James is a man. He's a human being. He was my roommate. I didn't always get to see this smile. Y'all got to see, I had to see some of the, like, intense, hard, I hate life type of moments, you know? I mean, his car, his relationship, so we always talk, you know? A guy that falls in love faster than anybody else, that's me. And, no. And then a guy, James, who actually never loved a female before until Sierra, you know? Our conversations was something else, but I didn't know what everyone was. You know, he's a human being who also wore a mask like everyone else, and he put on that mask to make all of you happy. I think that's like the main thing, because whenever people was talking yesterday about smiling, I was like, James smiling? What? James smiling? This smile? No. Not my roommate James, who, just like me, you know, my baby boy, you know, feels like sometimes he has to carry the weight of the world on his shoulder. And being a man, don't know how to show his feelings at all. No. He don't. He's a human being. I love that guy. And yes, another musical student, theater student is in the house. So I'm going to sing, because he would always ask me to sing. And I'll be like, and I'll make up a song like, skinny nigga, look on the I have a lot of stories with him. You know, he flipped Jason over, threw a sandwich at him. Jason ate the sandwich. Yeah, romance with them too was a lot, but I'll be here all day. But man. This song got me through a lot. I feel like it's actually the college student's anthem, even no matter what belief you have, because, you know, whenever we leave our mothers, you know, and everything, we just need somebody, and there's so much that we go through, the trials, the tribulations. I need to stop talking. Let me see. Not a second, another minute, not an hour, another day, but at this moment with my arms outstretched, I need you to make a way as you have done so many times before. Through a window, through an open door, I stretch my hands to thee. Come rescue me. I need you right away. second, not another minute. I can't wait another day. Oh Lord, please make a way. Oh Lord, make a way. I'll just stay a little bit because I have to go. Make sure you guys come tomorrow. His mom and sister will be here tomorrow, so make sure you guys come. I'm Devion. I'm James' roommate, by the way. You guys didn't know about this. I can't really remember how I met James. I argued with Kelby and said I met him through him, but Kelby said he met him through me. So I don't know. He appeared in our lives shortly, and he became one of my best friends. Probably the best friend. I've seen James in every different light. I've seen him happy. I've seen him sad. We've talked about everything under the sun. I think I met him in Toshiba room where they were rapping badly, but they were rapping. They attempted to do something. But I'm glad you guys all came out. He was an amazing guy. Walked around the house with his shirt off all the time in the forest. If you don't know Aaron, Aaron's our other roommate. Aaron's like the prince from Beauty and the Beast, and he's like built and stuff. So he will always call him Big Aaron, and I always want to be like him. So that's why he was in the gym working out half of the time, which he stopped shortly after he was working out. But I know he would appreciate everybody being here, and he was really a extraordinary young man at 19, and we bonded really quickly, and I can be up here and I can be okay, I guess, because we had a relationship that no matter where we were, we always said, the last thing that we would always say to each other when the night ended or it was, I love you, bro, I love you too. So just me knowing that and knowing that he knew how much I loved him and how much he loved me too, and he loved everybody too. He really did. He was happy. He was a really nice person. Even when he was down, we'd have our deep conversations. They were deep. If you know me, they were pretty deep. We were always find laughter in it. We were always find humor in it. We would always hug it out. We were always. This is one of the things when we first hang out. Those who know me know I love McDonald's a lot, and we went to McDonald's for I got a Happy Meal, I think, because I was broke, and we got this toy, and I kept it in my car, and either this week or last week he asked me like, "You still got that toy?" I said, "Yeah, James, it's a very essential part of our friendship." He was like, "Oh, okay then, cool. It's supposed to squirt water, but it never did work, so I'm glad I kept it." I don't know, I really like talking about him. He's a handsome dude, huh?
Yeah.
He was the most humble guy ever. He was. He loved Miami, but he was really humble. He had a fear that people thought he was metrosexual. And it was a stupid fear. Me, Kelvin, and Frank, and them was always telling him he is. He was. You dress nice, you metrosexual. I was like, James, it's alright, you're not gay. You like women. It's alright. So you're trying to like build on it by talking about girls and talk. He had this, okay, I'm telling you again. He had this obsession with like large women for no, I mean like large women. I'm so sorry. We were in his room. Watching this video.
there was times where he was sad, where he got mad, you know what I mean? That there were times where we didn't agree on everything, you know? He was my roommate. He was my best friend, my little brother, and I love him, and I'm so glad everybody else they're sharing their stories of him, and it's all positive. So thank you guys so much for coming out, and be here tomorrow with his mom and his sister. They're really like to see everybody.
Through the way, and I started walking towards Ivor again, and he looked at me, and he started playing a song, and the song was like stomping, you know, like heavy walking, and I was like, he's trying to be funny. And I always said to myself, I'm giving myself a fat test. And my first time flying here was my first time on the plane. And I said, I know if I'm fat or not if I have to buy 2 plane tickets in order to sit down. And I didn't. And I met James. So I was out running one day, and I said, James, why are you always running? He said, why are you not running? He said, the Franklin gym is open 24 hours a day. And I said, you need to eat. Kitchen 24 is open 24 hours a day. So that established our relationship. Good times, bad times. And I haven't talked to him in a long time, in weeks. And I saw him at orientation. And you know how when you're mad at somebody, you accidentally speak because you look and you be like, hey, but you don't know me, you didn't mean to speak. And I saw him and I was like, oh, I shouldn't. So we shook hands, you know, and that's when we like 3 or 4 weeks since we talked, you know, and that's our first time talking back to each other. So yeah, I guess, you know, it was a good thing that happened, you know. So don't want to hold grudges with people, and I'm really bad at that. You know, so, and I'm learning to forgive others, because that's the only way I can be forgiven, forgave, just however you say that. Yeah, so, I'm going to sing a song, you know, bear with me. I usually don't cry, but y'all got me scared, man. On that road less traveled, places far and wide, on that long and peaceful road, let your dreams take flight. Go beyond the here and now, where you've never been. On that long and winding road, fare thee well, my friend. Wrap your dreams in a rainbow, hang your hopes on the star. On the wings of a song you fly, let your dreams take flight. Fare thee well and Godspeed, till we meet again. On that long and peaceful road, where your dreams began. Wrap your dreams in a rainbow, hang your hopes on the star. On the wings of a song you fly, let your soul take flight. Thank you.
I was really lucky to meet James by CC, as you all know, or a lot of you know that she was James' girlfriend, and I just wanted to come up and dedicate this song to Sierra and James. I took your words and I believed in everything you said to me. That's right. I wish I could touch you again. I wish I could still call you a friend. I'd give anything. If someone said 3 years from now you'll be long gone,
you, my darling. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so we have this English class, right? Yeah, so it's me, James, Khadijah, and Mike. And we have the whole class. I don't know what's happening, but we weren't learning anything that day. So we was all sitting, and we decided to, just rag on each other. Mike said this, I said that, I think Khadijah called his forehead pregnant. And then Mike was like, how far along is it? I was like, 3 veins. He just say all that. And from that day, that exact day, me and James used to butt heads and try to top each other. And no one ever would win. Not really. Even these arguments led me to meet new people. That's exactly how I met Kelby, and I believe Frank. We were arguing about what is an actor's eye. And we were just saying, I said this and he said that. What is an actor's eye? And so his ass was just like, brought me all the way up to Kelby's room. And he was like, asking Kelby, some advice. And I just met so many friends from him, just coming inside. Yeah, so that's my...
First of all, I'm real mad because I told James this morning, I said, I need some new weed today, and you're going to take me to Saturday because I was going to tell you to take me, and I was going to eat $5. If you know me, I try to get from here to Africa on $5. Right, Kelby? Right. One time I was like, oh, James, can you take some hair stone, please? So you know me, just we need some new weed. And Jessica asked him the same day, and I didn't know Jessica already. She was like, I need $5. So I'm thinking, Dave, we gotta give James $5. That's $2.50. And we get to the hair stone. I need my first $5. No, I need my $5 when we got in the car. I was like, well, you only get $5. You only said I need you $5. No, that's $10. I was like, James, I'm not giving you gas for your whole day. You just gonna get gas take me from here to there. No, I need $10 for an African ugly girl. I know he didn't because if you know James, you know he live in the jungle. If you go to James' I was so serious. If you go to James' house, he got like trees in the front, on the side. There's like 13 cars, and then it's his house hidden all the way in the back behind the trees. So I was like, you little jungle bunny, you better go jump from branch to branch and take me to this house though for my $2.50. And he took us, and so I was going to ask him Saturday to take me, but then I didn't see him. So I wrote him this morning on Facebook, and he left me at the gate. It's all good, because this until this morning. So this morning, I'm sitting in my room, and I'm like, it's Joanna, Renee, and Polo in the living room, and it's 2 bathrooms, and I hear the toilet flush. The bathroom dark. And everybody in the room, I'm like, okay, Renee don't went to the bathroom, it's cool. They ain't even knock on the door, it's fine. I get to the house, I'm like, Renee, well, did you use the bathroom? She was like, oh no. I was like, Joey, you use the bathroom? Hello, you know? No, I was like, that motherfucker. Didn't even knock on the door, cut on the light, and be like, yo, can I use the bathroom? I was like, yeah, that's cool, bro. That's cool. And like yesterday, okay, when I first found out, I was really sad. And last night, I kept trying to go to sleep. And he was like, damn, ugly, what you crying for? I was like, what you be when I'm crying for? He was like, I'm good, I'm straight. Y'all don't cry. So today I've been real good. I've known James since we was in high school. We did Hi Baby, and I had to jump on his neck, and like we fell straight into the It was like, he was standing up, and I was like, let's practice this, but we were trying to show off in front of like all the people in the show. It's like about 500 in there rehearsing. Now, so we finna do this real good. Hi, yeah, baby. Boom! It was really embarrassing. And I guess I gotta go back to Frank on, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? I used to call James
was feeling down and would sit outside the gate smoking a cigarette. No, you guys seen me smoking a cigarette. I would be looking sad, and lo and behold, it would always be James walking by. And he would come sit right out next to me and say, put his arm around me and say, "What's wrong, girl?" And I'd go ranting on about whatever problem, stupid problem I had, and I don't know what to tell you, but it's gonna be okay. And it's gonna be okay, it is. He always called me his vein buddy, so we could be related because I got skinny and baby hands and he was just a fun, joyful person. I guess you never realize that you don't tell everybody how much they mean to you every day until it's too late. But I know he knows we're all thinking of him and will keep thinking of him. And I always used to see him walking down the street, and to me he always looked like a sad puppy looking for someone to take him home. And I'd be like, "James, why you look like a sad puppy with no home?" He would just smile and laugh. "Shut up, girl. Come give me a hug." Come give you a boo. And his hugs were just, if there was a definition of hugs, James is that. Like, you just knew you were getting love out of that hug. He didn't have to say it every day. You just knew. And I was just talking to him about going bungee jumping. Debbie walked up to me last time I talked to him face to face, and it was outside in front of the gate, and he was like, "Well, I don't know if I'm gonna jump off no bridge because that sounds kind of sketchy to me, but I'll go walk up there with you guys." I was like, "Okay, when I get back from break, we'll plan it out." He's like, "Yeah, okay. I might jump, maybe, but I'll walk up there and see how I feel." I was like, "Okay." Still gonna go bungee jumping for him, and I'm gonna go bungee jumping for him.
Hi y'all, I'm Amber. Okay, so I'm at James my first semester, and if any of y'all know me, I can be a hard person to break. Like, if I don't know people, I'm kind of cold. But I remember I was moving all my stuff in, and I finally got settled, and it was a long orientation day, and I was all irritated and frowning like I usually am, and I was trying to get something in the elevator, and all of a sudden this person just come up and my box, helped me put my box in, and I was like, "Don't touch my stuff." I was just and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Hey." And he's like, "What you frowning for?" And I was like, "It's just been a long day, going off." And he was like, "Well, that's nice. What's your name?" And I was like, "Amber." I'm James. And I was like, "Hi, James." And he was like, ever since then, I would just see him, and he would make me laugh, and he always would poke me in the middle of my head and tell me to quit frowning because it's the same spot every time. And I saw him on Friday, this past Friday, and I've been in New York over the summer, and I was sitting in the computer room frowning as usual, and he walked in, poked me in my head, "What you frowning for?" And I was like, "Hey." And we hugged each other, and we laughed, and we talked about New York, and he was asking "Well, how was New York?" and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Oh, it was tough, and I didn't want to be there, and I'm so glad to be back in LA." And he was like, "All right, well, I'll see you later," and gave me a hug. He was like, "All right, we got to talk about that," and blah, blah, blah. It's sad because I won't be able to talk to him about it anymore or whatever. James was always that person you could talk to about anything, no matter what. He was just there. Even if you didn't know him, he was willing to speak to you and talk to you or give you a hug or give you a smile. And we just need that light. I feel like we don't have enough of that light. We get so down about petty stuff that doesn't mean anything, but then you lose an angel like this. He was a real angel. I'm so blessed to have gotten to meet him and know him, and I'm sad, but I know God has a plan for all of us, and we can't question that plan. And each other, but we're here together for him. So I know every time I get up and sing, or if I'm nervous, I've been thinking about James poking me in my forehead and telling me to quit being upset. And James, we love you and appreciate you, and I appreciate the spirit and the blessing that you left on our campus. So.
Don't know me. Okay, I just want to tell you about this time. Me and James had just got here, like, our first weekend probably here at AMDA, and we went to a party. No, we didn't go to the party. Toshiba went to the party, and James and I stayed here. Toshiba came in drunk, falling all over his arm. I'm James! Oh, James! And James was like, "Not today!" And I was like, yeah, that was that story. But I'm going to tell y'all, whoever said James was Mr. Fix-It, he has been like that forever. In high school, James was always fixing something, and he had this brown car, it's an old Mercedes. And we called it
nobody in that car.
Won't ride nobody in the little raggedy car.
You can't get in.
Let me tell y'all, James walk outside and got a flat. He goes to the back of the trunk, pulls stuff out. I'm like, James, what you doing? I was about to fix my tire. I'm like, how? Oh, you watch this. Like, 15 minutes later, James got his tire fixed. I'm like, how you do that? Because. I'm like, and then, in high school, he was always like the charmer. He just got charmed. We would get in trouble in our payback, in our drama program, it's called payback. And James was the only one who did not get in trouble. Our teacher was crazy. And
James, why you did that just now? James, I know you just need to go back over there.
Oh, Miss Sue, you so pretty. Look at you.
Oh, James, you just a sweet. You gonna be a good
All the time. He just knew what to say. Yeah. I had other stories, but okay.
I'm not really feeling sad just because I feel like it's all a joke, you know? Like he's gonna walk in, swinging his leg, and get second. James always bobbling in the door.
pants up.
With his pants sagging. James, you're not a joke. But I feel so blessed to have been in this class because no matter what James was going through that day, he was always the one to ask you what's wrong. And coming down here, my mom was like, "Man, I don't want you to go there. I don't want you to." I'm like, "Mom, I got a friend down there who fixes cars. Like, James isn't in the best shape, but he got mine. Like, he got me. I know this." And I expected everything to be the same when I came down. I always told James, "You were forever singing," because his voice, he'd be singing when he talked to me, and I'm, "James, why are you singing?" But, you know, I said some things to him, like, he knows my humor, you know, and the day before I left, he was parked out on the hill, this sad little face, and I want to ignore him, like, oh, I'm not going to look at him, he has some bad story to tell me, and honks the horn, and I'm wet, James, and I get in the car, and he's like, "Lorena, you think I'm metrosexual?" And he's like, "I don't know, well, you know." I sat there and I nodded, and even though he didn't say much, like, you know he cared for you. And even though he's not here in our class, we're never going to forget him. And we're going to remember him in this school no matter what it is. And I hope you guys are all okay with him dying, because we're blessed to have had him in our life for that short amount of time.
I've really never seen James like hella happy either. He always had like this sad ass face. But the only time I seen him like really, really happy was when we was fighting. It was him and Keith. now back on my computer or whatever. It's so funny. It was so funny. He was always like hella mean to me for no reason, calling me obese and everything. And he called me obese, and I was like, bitch, I ain't obese. And he was like, yeah, you just got a little pudge. And then he whispered to the camera, he said, yeah, pudge, that's what we say. Fat people make them feel good. James did so many favors for me. James did everything. I never did nothing for James. I'm gonna be serious. I was on the video. On the video, I was like, James, hook me up with Devion. My baby. I was like, and he was like, oh no, he don't want you. It was funny. He was like, you ain't never did nothing for me, and I was like, you right. And I read our Facebook conversation today, and it said, he wrote me, he was like, hey, I was like, fuck you. I was like, fuck you. He said, fuck boy. I said, fuck nigga. He said, punk ass. I said, fuck you, pencil neck ass nigga. He said, fuck you, broad back ass nigga. And we used to always crack on each other. It's like, all I got is pictures, videos, messages, texts. I can never like really talk to him again how I want to. We can never like crack on each other, and it's hard, but we gotta be strong for each other. We gonna make it. I love you.
Okay, this was my first semester here at AMDA. And I met James, and that's where I feel like I know him the last 5 years. James first started talking to me. I had my down face, and he walked up to me and asked me if I was okay. It got to the point where we started being together all the time this past week, and I swear it felt like a lifetime. So after him and Gerald played basketball, I knew he was going to be back, because we was together the whole day during orientation. And he was like, all right, I'm going swimming tonight too. Meet me there. You can tell me what's wrong. So finally, everybody like calmed down or whatever. Me and James got a moment to ourselves. And he told me, and I can see his face and hear his voice saying, I know you going through, but you going to be okay. Don't let nobody talk you down, and don't give up on your dreams. And I can see his face and hear him telling me that right now. And when I found out he was dead, I got a text. I was asleep in the morning. And I was like, oh, James texted me to check on me again this morning. And I opened the text, and it wasn't from James. It was Kevin. And I went to Kevin to see what was going on. And I was like, hey, Kevin. And he was sniffling. I was like, Kevin, are you okay? And he was like, no. And I was like, what's up? What's going on? And he looked at me and he was like, James was in an accident. So I was like, what? He was in an accident? Okay, what hospital? Yeah, we can go see him. We can bring him some stuff. What's going on? And then he was like, no. And I was like, no. And he was like, it's been confirmed by his mom. But he died, and I didn't know how to act. I couldn't do anything but yell and scream and throw stuff, because that night before, when he was with me, something in me kept saying, take a picture with him. Take something from him. Ask him more questions. Don't just sit here and be chilling. If you feel like you need to take a picture, go get your camera. It's right on the nightstand. Take a picture with James. Give James another hug. That whole last day of his life through orientation, I had no reason to be there. But most of that day, I was with James. During their break, him and Jenny came. We went to Oakwood, and Aladdin came on. So we watching Aladdin. And he was like, man, I can't stand Aladdin. When I was in middle school, they used to call me Aladdin. And then he was like, and then when I got to high school and grew my little beard, they started calling me Jafar. parking lot. And it was me, him, Kev, and somebody else. And then he was like, man, somebody called me an alpaca today. And I was like, wait, who called you a what? And Kev was like, your best friend. And I was like, he called you what? He called me an alpaca. Anybody that knows James, know whenever you tell James something and you having a bad day, the first thing he do is like, oh. Just like that. He told me James was like, oh. And I was like, it's okay, I'm going to get him. So when we was watching Aladdin, Damani called him an alpaca. And I hit him in the head with my Winnie the Pooh. And it's really crazy to me because I'm a big kid when it comes to that Winnie the Pooh. And nobody seems to ever pay attention to that but James. And I forgot what happened. And nobody pays attention to little stuff like that. And then James was like, it's okay, just go get Winnie the Pooh. You can cuddle up with him tonight. And it was just really weird to me because no one pays attention to the little things that I say or do, especially for somebody who hasn't even known me that long. And just the little things are going to stick with me forever. Being in the pool, in the hot tub with him that night, messing around, calling him a little fish, because when he in water, he looked like one. And he was like, it's okay, I'm going to teach you how to swim. And I was like, all right, for sure, you're going to teach me how to swim. You swim like a fish anyway from Miami. That's what y'all do out there, I guess. That's what y'all do out there, I guess. So, I was having a bad day. He was ready to go, so finally he was ready to go. Then Judy was on her laptop, and she was like, hey, James, he got your sweater. And then he was like, oh, let me see this old ugly guy's nigga with my sweater. Oh, never mind, that ain't my sweater. Mine is a V-neck. And it was his green striped sweater. And he was like, man, I'm going to wear that sweater tomorrow. So I was getting dressed today, and I completely forgot that I had this. And I seen it. And I was like, that's just like the one in the picture that he said he was going to wear tomorrow. And he said, see you tomorrow. And I said, I'm going to look for that sweater. That's how I'm going to find you. I didn't find his sweater, but I found mine. And to know this boy for a few months and feel like a lifetime, I will forever miss him. And one of the last things he told me is that everything was going to be okay and to live my dreams. And when I found out he was dead, I couldn't believe it. But now every time I feel like giving up, all I can hear is him telling me that I'm going to be okay. And because of that, from now on, every time I feel like I'm down, I'm going to think of what he told me. Every time I want to give up, and I want to live and love myself, my career, and my future. And it's because he told me it's going to be okay. James, he was the fixing man. He didn't only fix stuff, but he fixed people too. And I will forever live by those few simple words that he told me.
Hello, I'm Sierra. I'm trying not to cry right now because I'm going to give my little speech. But Kevin wanted to do a video with people saying, you know, what they really loved the most about him and how we all going to miss him. And, you know, it's for him. This day is for him. Tomorrow is for him. And we all going to miss him so much. We all love him, and this video is for him. It's just for him. Because he was a special person in all of our lives. I'm going to cry. And he loved every single one of us. Every single one of us. He knew all of our names. He knew who we all were. He would do anything for every one of us. And it's going to be hard, but we're going to make it through because we're going to hold each other's hands.
Yes, sir.
We are here for each other. And we will always be here for each other. And just because he's gone don't mean he's gone. He's still here. He in this room right now. He probably back there just like, without me. So this is for him. So thank you, Kevin.
I'm just stay a little bit because I have to go. Make sure you guys come tomorrow. His mom and sister will be here tomorrow, so make sure you guys come. I'm Devion. I'm James' roommate, by the way. You guys didn't know about that. I can't really remember how I met James. I argued with Kelby and said I met him through him, but Kelby said he met him through me. So I don't know. He appeared in our lives shortly, and he became one of my best friends. Probably the best friend. I've seen James in every different light. I've seen him happy. I've seen him sad. We've talked about everything under the sun. I think I met him in Toshiba room. Where they were rapping badly, but they were rapping. They attempted to do something. But I'm glad you guys all came out. He was an amazing, amazing guy. Walked around the house with his shirt off all the time in the forest. His if you don't know Aaron, Aaron's our other roommate. Aaron's like the prince from Beauty and the Beast, and he's like built and stuff. So he will always call him Big Aaron. And I always want to be like him, so that's why he was in the gym working out half of the time, which he stopped shortly after he was working out. But I know he would appreciate everybody being here, and he was really a extraordinary young man at 19, and we bonded really quickly, and I can be up here and I can be okay, I guess, because we had a relationship that no matter where we were, we always said, the last thing that we would always say to each other when the night ended or it was, I love you, bro, I love you too. So just me knowing that and knowing that he knew how much I loved him and how much he loved me too, and he loved everybody too. He really did. He was happy. He was a really nice person. Even when he was down, we have our deep conversations. They were deep. If you know me, they were pretty deep. We were always find laughter in it. We were always find humor in it. We would always hug it out. We were always. This is one of the things when we first hang out. Those who know me know I love McDonald's a lot, and we went to McDonald's for I got a Happy Meal, I think, because I was broke, and we got this toy, and I kept it in my car, and either this week or last week he asked me like, "You still got that toy?" I said, "Yeah, James, it's a very essential part of our friendship." He was like, "Oh, okay then, cool." It's supposed to squirt water, but it never did work, so I'm glad I kept it. I don't know, I really like talking about him. He's a handsome dude, huh?
Yeah.
He was the most humble guy ever. He loved Miami, but he was really humble. He had a fear that people thought he was metrosexual. And it was a stupid fear. Me, Kelvin, frightened him. So I always tell him he is. He was. You dress nice, you metrosexual. That's why James, alright, you're not gay. You like women. It's alright. So you're trying to like build on it by talking about girls and talk. He had this, okay, I'm telling you what it is. He had this obsession with like large women no, I mean like large women. I'm so sorry. We were in his room. Watching this video. Don't talk about it. It was the funniest I've never seen it before. Funniest thing in the world, because he will always talk about because they had so many creases. So worried about being pregnant. That's just the type of guy he was. He found him in everybody. Just with that, he loved everybody. He loved everybody. He was cool. I mean, he was human. So, there was times where he was sad, where he got mad. You know what I mean? There were times where we didn't agree on everything. He was my roommate. He was my best friend, my little brother, and I love him, and I'm so glad everybody else is sharing their stories of him, and it's all positive. So thank you guys so much for coming out, and be here tomorrow with his mom and his sister. They'll really like to see everybody.
Of course, he had Tarshiva, Jessica, and stuff. I was like, I could share him with them, but I'm not sharing him with nobody else. And he started making other friends.
Yeah, he left us.
And I was like, all right, it's cool. And then he found Devion. I got real jealous. I got extremely jealous because he ain't have time for me no more, and I didn't have nothing in common with him no more. Like, everything was Devion and everything was Keith after he met Keith, and I found myself getting extremely jealous, and he would always ask me to go here and there with them and stuff, and I wouldn't go. I held a grudge against Devion for the longest because he had my friend. And I always tried to find a reason to, I guess, stay mad at him and stuff, and I wanted Devion to come up here with me because I wanted to apologize to him in front of everybody because James kept telling me, like, I wish you guys would, like, I wish you would just be cool and stuff, you know. Devion, one of my favorite people, you one of mine. I love you, Thirsty. Come on, like, can you do it for me? And I was like, being a typical Thursday, and I just wanted to, I feel like I won't be able to make peace with the situation until I tell Devion, you know, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry, and I hate it took losing somebody so near and dear to both of us for me to say it. And I want to say I'm sorry to everybody who I was ever standoffish, and I'm sorry for being selfish. I was selfish with Cece because I felt like she took my friend as well. He didn't have time for me. Anytime I had to talk to him about something, or anytime he talked to me, it was all about her, and I was being real selfish, and I'm just sorry. And if I did have that hour or 30 minutes or 3 seconds, I just say I'm sorry. I love you, and I won't ever, ever hold these grudges and anything against you or anybody else again.
Hi, I'm April. If you guys don't know who I am. At AMDA, I have a brethren group. 5 brothers. It's Kevin, Christian, Kelby, Frank, and James. The first time I met James, Kelby and Frank were walking into my room, and then James comes like striding along behind them, and me and my roommates were like, what is he doing here, you know? And we introduced ourselves. Like, oh, I'm James. Oh, hi, I'm April. And then the next moment, he gave all of us nicknames. There was Macy Gray, there was Miami, and I was Autumn. I don't know why. He's like, you look like Macy Gray, and you sound like Macy Gray. And when I look at you, it just reminds me of Miami. It like reminds me of home. And then when he looks at me, he's like, Autumn. And I was like, just because my name starts with an A, my name is like a spring season. Right? He's like, no, it's just Autumn. And I was working with him at orientation as well, just this class orientation. And one day I didn't know the schedule. And I asked him, I said, so do you know what time we get out today? He said on the floor like, no. And then I was like, okay, well, do you have a schedule? He's like, yeah. And he doesn't do anything, and we're sitting there for like a whole minute, and I'm like, do you want to take out your schedule? And tell me? He's like, okay. And James and I actually have some things in common. You may be thinking, like, what does a little Asian girl have in common with this black man from Miami, right? But back in July, 3 months ago, I was in my own car accident. I was in a coma. I was in the hospital. People didn't know what was going to happen to me. But now that I'm back, I feel so blessed to be back. And then 3 months later, what happened to James, it tore me apart because I just said, that could have been me, but he's actually the more blessed one because he's where he belongs, and he's so much happier.
Yes.
He does not need any of this anymore. Well, he needs us, but I'm just kidding. But he doesn't have like the little things in life to bother him. And one very, very fond memory I have of him is when I was hanging out in his room. Frank was about to go to bed, but I was just talking to him. He was like laying on his bed and just flipping through his iPod, you know, with his do-rag and his Jamaican bandana. Sierra walks in, you know, sits on his bed, starts talking to him, and Frank's like, I'm about to go to bed. And I said, okay. I sat there, and then James just looks at me with his face, like, sorry, Autumn, you gotta get out now. I'm like, okay. And a few days before the accident happened, we were sitting in a meeting for orientation, and he looked at me. I was like, what are you looking at? And he said to me, you know, you're the only person who can make me giggle out of everyone else. He said, you're the only person who can make me giggle. And to me, I just looked at him, and I said, oh, okay. And I just sat there like smiling the whole time. And then he's like, and then he looks back at me, and I'm like, hee, and then he starts giggling. But even though I can't do that in person anymore, I know he's going to be giggling up in heaven.
I don't know the trio, Dave, Jess, and I have a weird sense of humor, okay? So a lot of the times, except they take it way serious sometimes. They would be like, hey, James, come in the room. Let's be hella mean to him for the rest of the day. And you know, all right, let's do this. And James would come and, hey, y'all.
What you want?
What? And he'd be like, and they just dog him for the whole time in class. And I couldn't fully commit to dogging him. So secretly I was texting him, okay, we're not mad, we're just JK. Don't worry about it, buddy, I'll see you after class. We don't like you. And it's so funny because it doesn't like go into the, I remember when he went to the Cheesecake Factory, and the Cheesecake Factory was supposed to be a happy place where dreams come true. That's our spot with the cheese. I think it was like a week straight went to the cheesecake no matter what, and we brought James and he told me this story. He's like, I was feeling so sad. The Cheesecake Factory would cheer me up. I'm like, how did Cheesecake Factory cheer you up? James said, because we were in the Mac store and I saw the crippled dog that had no legs. And I was like, you're sick. And he's like, no, because the dog was still wagging his tail and like moving his front paws. And he was like, and it like made me realize that my life is, you know, better. So I was happy. And I was like, yeah, James. Yeah, buddy, I'm gonna go. And there was this one story where I was getting ready for this party, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to find a dress, I need to buy heels, I need to do this. I was like, oh, freaking out. I was like, James, I texted James, I was like, Fashion District, you know, cheapest thing. So I was like, let's go. We went down there. James carried all my bags, which was like, oh my gosh, the time saver. So, you know, I was like, James, this store. And then afterwards, it was like 6 o'clock, and I was like, James, oh my gosh, what the hell? I was like, I haven't even got my dress yet. And he's like, okay, all right, this is what we're doing. Hollywood and Highland Mall. I was like, are we going to make it? We'll make it. I'm like, all right. So we went there, did everything, and then I put my dress on before I could put on my shoes, and my dress was hella tight. And I was like, with the roller still in my hair and everything, and I was like, oh, James, wake up, James. And he was like, what? Because he would always call me his, he's like, so he was like my gay straight best friend, and he would call me his butch dyke. That single, that was uncalled for. Anyway. James, let's try on these ones first, the black ones. He's like, yeah, he's like, oh, the black ones look good, wear them. So naturally, I do the opposite, and I'm like, put on the blue ones, let's go. And the blue ones worked out perfectly, and James is like, why do you ask me if you don't pick the opposite? I'm like, because James, that's why I ask you. Because whatever you say, I know to do the opposite, it's gonna work out. You know, but like, being the person like that spent the last day with him before he left Oakwood that night, it was intense, you know what I mean? I mean, the thing is, our conversation was far from it. It was fun. It was interesting. And like, he was, like I always say, James is one of the best people here, and is not a lot of people say about. But he was like one of the best people I know, and even when we had attitudes with him, we put him through hell. We put him through so much damn hell. He did not once say, I ain't ever gonna talk to you. Okay, even when I'll come at 3 in the morning, he'd be like, what you want, Butch? And I'm like, oh, jeez. But yeah, but I know he's up there watching over all of us and stuff like that now, so.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh outweighed the bad, and I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, and I don't know where this road is going to lead, and all I know is where we've been and what we've been through. And if we get to see tomorrow, I hope it's worth all the pain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, and I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday, and I'll take with me the memories to be my sunshine after the rain. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.